Hello, this is your virtual life coach, Michael Lewis. Let's talk about being great. Let's talk about the great you, the amazing you, the truly, fully alive you. Let's talk about that. I mean, there you are, and you're having a conversation with somebody, and if you just step back from it, and let's say like it's a really good, deep, meaningful conversation, and you just, it's like this is back and forth, and it's just really beautiful and everything, and you're really kind of in sync with each other, and it's just really good, it's like good conversation. Just step back from it for a moment. There's this, you can feel a sense coming from the other person and probably coming from yourself, that there's something that, for want of a better word, because it's inexpressibly exquisite, it's a feeling of aliveness. You're feeling very alive. They're feeling very alive. You're like this and this and this and this. And they're going, yes, yes, this. And you're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's like, it's like you've sprouted wings or something, and you can sense this thing. You can feel it. You look at their face, you can sense their, whatever you want to call it, their spirit, their je ne sais quoi, whatever. You know there's something there, something amazing that's invisible to the naked eye, but you know it's there. And this is what it's all about. This is what we're all about. But we rarely take the time to actually realize it or feel it, because we're just too wound up in the, the ravioli and bad jokes of the business of living to have a consciousness of being fully alive. And that's too bad, because the times when you're fully alive, those are the times you have the best chance of being the great you, the amazing you, the extraordinary you, the you that really accomplishes the impossible, So how can you feel that way more often, if not all the time? Well, let's talk about that. A very simple way is simply by bringing forth life into other things, by making the things and the people around you more alive, by just validating the life that they are. And it's something that you can do. And you've probably done it, just sort of like you've just done it without consciously or deliberately or purposely doing it. You just did it because you did it. It seemed to be the thing to do. Now, there's three ways of doing this. There's three ways of making things and or people more alive. Starting with the lowest and most obvious, you can heal something or someone. You take your dog to the vet, and your dog's going because he's in pain or whatever, and the vet goes, oh, it's just this and this, it's a little infection, here you go, doggy. And the dog goes, made that the vet has made the dog more alive. Or you go to the doctor, and you get fixed. You had a broken arm, and now it's not so broken anymore. 3 cheers. So that's an obvious way of making something more alive, or someone more alive. Another way is by just simply making something more alive, by endowing it, bestowing upon it or them more life. You come across someone who's kind of down, you got a friend or your kid or something like that, and they're feeling kind of blue, and you say, buck up, it's okay, it's gonna be all right. Hey, you want to hear a joke? And you cheer them up, and you've actually made that person more alive. They feel better. There's no law against that, and you did it, and you feel good. You feel good about that. Kind of makes you more alive too. Now, the third way is by taking something that is obviously not alive, and you endow it with life. People do this all the time with their cars. Can't you go a little faster? I know you can do this. Come on, let's do this. Sometimes they give their car a name, like, let's go, Bessie. Let's get on up the hill. When I got married, my wife had a car. It was a Volvo. She called it Volvy, and she would talk to it and stuff. And I remember we were, it's like shortly into our marriage, I was like, that's really ridiculous. I mean, It's just a stupid car. And, you know, it's an inanimate object. I mean, okay. And I stuck the key in the ignition and it wouldn't start. I said, well, it's a stupid car. It's not starting. And she said, you have to be nice to Volvi. You have to be nice to Volvi, or else Volvi won't start for you. Now apologize. I said, sorry, Volvi. I'm really sorry. Could you please start for me? And she said, that's better. Now try it. Turn the ignition, turned right on. This was an inanimate object that was endowed with life. And we had that car trouble-free for like decades. As long as we were nice to it. That's all it wanted. And then we gave it away to a friend of ours who, you know, didn't believe. And it just sort of exploded on her within the first day. And that was that. So, you know, you can put life into things. Not hard. You can do that. Now, right now, let's do this right now. Just look around the room that you're in, or if you're doing this outside, look around the outside. You know, find something you really like a photo of a loved one or some favorite tchotchke or a nice tree or something like that. And just right now while we're sitting here, just put some life into it. Just endow it with a bit more life by just, you know, loving it or, you know, going, or whatever. See, you can do that. You just did it. Good for you. It's a lovely way to live. Why can't we do that all the time? Well, we can't do it all the time because, you know, we got the pressures of everyday life, the stress, tension, bills, aches, and pains, you know, the latest headlines. And, you know, after a while, you kind of forget, kind of lose sight of the fact that you can do this. And things kind of get stagnant, you know. What does stagnant mean? Stagnant means no motion, no current, no activity, dull, sluggish, just kind of like, yeah. Hello, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. Blah, blah. Dee, 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 dee. You know, that's not really a good way to live. No, of course not. I mean, what great symphonies have been written by people who were like, meh. What great extraordinary scientific discoveries were made by people who are like, yeah, well, I don't know, could be, whatever. I mean, do you tell your sweetheart, marry me, I find you mildly interesting? Of course not, of course not. You know, you want to have some life in there. You know, have you ever been at a job or an activity or some such that, you know, it just didn't seem to be any direction to it. It just didn't seem to be any future in it or any progression in it. Was it fun? I don't think so. So how do you become more alive when you don't feel like it? Well, what is the first thing that you should do when you're not doing anything? The very first thing you should do. Your mom had it right when you were a teenager and you were just sitting there doing nothing. What did she say? You know what she said. She said, clean your room, make yourself useful, make your bed, do something. That's right. Your mom was right. What she was really telling you was to take charge over something, anything. Stop being, stop being the doormat, stop being the effect. Put some order into life. You know, your bed is sloppy, put some order into it. Your room is dirty, put some order into it. This is something that people have a natural ability to do, and it will make you feel good. So you start small, you know, make your bed and clean your room or whatever. And then you go on to bigger things. Call up your son-in-law and tell him to get a better job. Tell him to move out of your basement. Educate yourself so you can become more valuable at what you're doing. That's how you make more money, is by making yourself more valuable, you see. And there are 3 magic tools that you have in your aliveness, greatness toolkit. which I will impart to you now. And those three things are admiration, serenity, and courage. These are things that dissolve people, not literally, but they just kind of melt the opposition and open doors and make people more alive, whether they want to be more alive or not. I'll give you an example. Admiration is just simply a feeling of love along with respect for another person or another thing or an idea or something like that. Very dramatic example of this was many years ago. There was this woman who I don't exactly remember what she did, but she kind of cheated us in business. Just sort of a little cheat that she did in business, and I was so mad at her, and I told my wife, I said, she's coming over today, and I'm going to really give it to her. It's not okay what she did. It was dishonest. It was bad. And my wife said, okay, let's see you do that. And the woman came over, and she immediately started going, I am so happy to even know you. You are what you do and the people that you help. All I can say is it is an honor to know the great Michael Lewis. And she was completely sincere in this. She wasn't faking or anything like that. Or if she was, she was doing a good job of it. But it just kind of pierced me and left my defenses down. And I said, well, well, thanks, and so on. And, after she left for the next 2 weeks, my wife was, so what would the great Michael Lewis like to have for dinner? What would the great Michael Lewis deign to take the trash out? Hey, great Michael Lewis, are you, she really let me have it for the next couple of weeks, but it worked. Admiration works as long as it is sincere and so on. People do not expect that. They do not expect that. And it's, you feel good. You feel good. People love admiration. The second thing is serenity. Just sort of being unflappable, resisting all invitations to get angry or to get upset. Just being a beautiful, clear pool of loveliness to whoever and whatever you're speaking to. And another example of this one is some years ago, I was in court testifying on my behalf. I won't get into it, but the lawyer was a very nasty person. And the people that were kind of on the opposing side were not very nice people at all. And this hostile lawyer was just and I was just being as nice can be. And I was, my answers were sort of like, well, it could be, maybe, what do you think? And, oh, that's a very good point you just made there. I think that possibly what we should be looking for, and he kept interrupting me and yelling and all like that. And finally, I just leaned over and I said, I'm only trying to help you. And he just started going that. And then the judge leaned over to him and said, he's only trying to help you. And he just kind of went, and that was the end of that. It's the end of that whole court thing, which we won. So serenity is a lovely thing too. And of course, we are all familiar with courage. We all like to be a lot more courageous. And this may be a little hard sometimes. People don't know what to do with courage. In other words, the receipt point of the courage. They don't really know what to do with it. There was a young man that I was life coaching years ago, and he was a good kid, but he'd gotten on the wrong side of the tracks. He'd gotten mixed up with a gang, And, you know, this gang used to do not nice things, you know, like beat up old people and that sort of thing. And you know, he realized the error of his ways, and he figured he should leave the gang. I said, that's a great idea. Leave the gang. And he said, you know what I'm going to do? We're getting together tonight. I'm just going to go there and tell them what I think. And, you know, that they should stop doing bad things. I said, they're armed, right? Are you sure you want to do this? And he said, yeah, I actually do. This is kind of like, I need to make up some of the damage that I've done. And the least I can do is at least give them a chance to take the right direction. I went, okay, this is my phone number, and this is, you know, call me right when you're done, or if there's any problem at all. And he said, okay. So what happened was, he went to the gang meeting on the street, in the alley or wherever they met, and he said, I'm leaving the gang. I'm leaving you guys. And they're like, what? Why? And he said, I've decided to lead a more ethical life. And, you know, I really like you guys. I think you guys have got tremendous potential in your life. You've got your whole lives ahead of you. And all you need to do is just stop. You know, just stop doing the things that you're doing that are harming people. You know, I feel a lot better because I've stopped, and I'm going to make something of myself. And they kind of surrounded him and came close to him. And the leader, you know, who was this great big guy, came up to him and put his arm around him and said, I respect you, man. And, you know, pounded him on the back. He said, you're okay. Good luck to you. And a lot of complimentary 4-letter words. So, you know, courage can make miracles, and it can make you more alive. It can make other people more alive too. So just to summarize, if you're feeling a little unamazing today, you know, a little bored, a little stagnant, a little untremendous, a little not so great, start with putting a little order into your room, into your life, you know, kind of move things around, move your furniture around, and just do something that makes you a little bit more in charge of things, you know? And then kind of move on out to other people's lives, you know, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids, your dog, whatever. See what you can do to bring more life into their life, you know? Your community, you know, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, of course. There's probably some things in your life that you figure could use a bit more life to them. Yes, you can just do that. There's no law against that. And you use those 3 magic tools: serenity, courage, and admiration, whenever you can. You know, if you practice them a little bit, you get the hang of it. And just be aware of the person that you're talking to is an incredible, astonishingly amazing person, just like you are. And a magical thing will happen as you're talking to them if you have that in your mind, that you are talking to an extraordinary, amazing, and magical person, just like you are. Maybe they won't feel it just then, but you sure will. Endow everything around you, including yourself, with life. You have plenty to go around. That's all I have to say for now. If you like this webinar, please be persuaded to see some more. Like and subscribe. Meanwhile, love each other, take your vitamins, observe posted speed limits, play nice. Never lose sight of who you are. Never, never, never lose sight of who you are. So long for now.